In Catelyn2, we learn that Winterfell actually does sit on a hot spring, and we find that there are hot pools in the courtyards, glass gardens which appear to be greenhouses in the grounds of Winterfell, and also that Catelyn's room specifically has hot springs which direct heated water through the walls of the castle itself. Curiously enough, she also describes it as the water being pushed through the castle like blood through a man's body, which is the first instance that we get of many of Winterfell basically being personified as being alive. Now, curiously enough, Ned has told her in the past that the Starks were built for the cold, and she jokes that, well, they have therefore built their castle in the wrong place then, which, based on my theories about what the true histories are, the Starks are not the ones who actually built Winterfell itself. And based on the way that the blood metaphor is used for the waters being pumped through it and the materials that are used in the original building, I strongly believe that there was a definite magical element towards the original Winterfell's construction. Catelyn also reiterates to us that she wed Ned 15 years ago, and also that she was promised to his brother Brandon, which was when she was only 12. Now, it is also revealed to us that custom dictates that if the son betrothed to marry dies, then the next son should take his place. She comments that the shadow of Ned's brother lay between them, as well as the shadow of a woman that he won't name, the woman who was the mother of Jon Snow, showing us immediately that Catelyn's loyalties lie towards her birthing kids to Ned, and that Jon is seen as an enemy from another woman. It also shows us that Brandon was her betrothed and therefore likely the one that she actually loved, and that her wedding to Ned, while still happy, is born out of duty. Now, Maester Luwin arrives, and it is clear to us that Luwin serves Catelyn. He came from Riverrun with Catelyn, and therefore, out of anybody in Winterfell, he is her creature, and he brings her an object which he has found left in his observatory, which implies that whoever left it knew that he would take it to her. Now, this had to be left by someone inside the keep at the time, as no riders have arrived. Inside it is a mirrorish lens, as well as a message. Now, Catelyn burns the message after reading it due to its contents being extremely dangerous if they are found by anyone else who is currently staying in their castle. She uses it to convince Ned to go south, as it is revealed that the message is from her sister Lysa, implicating that the Lannisters had a hand in her husband, the Hand of the King, Jon Arryn's death. We are also introduced to the concept that there must always be a Stark in Winterfell, and if Ned goes south, Robb is too young, so Catelyn must stay to make sure that it's safe. Now, this phrase, as far as I have seen so far, doesn't have any explicit reasoning behind it. However, it may be like a Ravens of the Tower of London scenario, where it's a superstition that if the Ravens leave the tower, then it means that England would fall or the monarchy would fall. So the same basic logic applies in this world. If the Starks leave Winterfell alone, it will fall in some way. We also get some more details concerning the history behind Ned and Catelyn. We also find that Bran is her favourite of her children, and he is currently 7 years old. Now, Ned himself was roughly this age, being 8 years old when he was fostered in the Eyrie, and we discover that it was the first year of Ned and Catelyn's wedding, while Catelyn was at Riverrun and pregnant, that Ned supposedly sires Jon Snow. And by the time Catelyn got to Winterfell after the end of the war, Jon was already there, and there are tales from the house staff that Ned killed Arthur Dayne and delivered his sword to Starfall, and Ashara Dayne, who is said to be tall and fair with violet eyes, is supposedly in some way connected to Jon's birth. When asked about Ashara Dayne, Ned tells Catelyn, "Never ask me about Jon. He is my blood, that is all you need to know." Which is interesting to think as why specifically say Jon when she asked about Ashara, if not to parallel a connection there. It's also interesting to note that he says he is my blood. Blood does not necessarily mean direct descendant, as you get bloodkin, who are like cousins, etc. And it is strongly, I believe, the case, as George gave certain notes to the creators of the TV show, Jon is indeed the child of Lyanna Stark, hence why he is the blood of Ned and not his child. It is also curious that Ned also asked where did she hear the name Ashara and who spoke about it, which is never elaborated on further, but may in some way be connected to the fact that it might explain why Benjen ended up on the wall. Now, interestingly enough, it is Luwin that interjects into Ned and Catelyn's conversation regarding Jon to bring up the fact that Benjen came to him, tell them that Jon intends to take the oath of the Night's Watch, which does seem interesting, as why does Benjen of all people want to have this outcome, and also why is Luwin of all people the one he tells, unless he knows that Luwin is Catelyn's creature and Catelyn has no love of Jon and so wants to push for Jon to be removed from Winterfell. And this is the point where it also reveals to us Benjen came to Luwin a few days ago, so this is a few days after, at the very least, the feast for King Robert arriving at Winterfell. The chapter rounds off with Ned noting that they will have to be prepared for their departure to go south with Robert, and it is revealed that it is intended to be a fortnight from now that they will leave.